Welcome. You've found yourself drifting into the rhythm of another time. This time, not a battlefield or a palace, but something quieter, more lived in, layered. Tonight, we won't follow a single person. We'll follow something built. Brick by brick, street by street, we'll walk through the stillness of stone and steel. Through rooms where no one speaks anymore, staircases worn thin by forgotten shoes, rooftops that once held drying laundry and whispered conversations. This is the story of a city told through its walls, a history not shouted, but settled into the cracks of mortar and the curve of cornices. The story of New York, not as spectacle, but as structure, as rhythm, as silence. So close your eyes if you'd like. Let your breath match the hum of an elevator shaft, and come with me to a place where everything moves and everything is made to last. 1700 to early 1800s. Imagine the sound of wooden wheels grinding against cobblestone, the air thick with horse manure, tar smoke, and fish. It is early morning in colonial New York, or New Amsterdam, as some still call it, and you are already awake. You are a builder, but not in the modern sense. You do not carry a tool belt, you carry stones. The buildings here are small, squat, and made of whatever is available, wood mostly. And wood is quick to build with, but also quick to burn. Fires are constant companions in this city. The kind of fire that doesn't just take a home, it takes a block. Your work is not seen as noble, it is necessary. You build because someone must. The tools are basic: hammers, nails, crude pulleys, ropes. There are no unions, no safety rails, no zoning laws. The mud beneath your boots seeps through wool socks. You live in the shadow of your own labor. In the attic of the inn you help repair. In a lean-to near the harbor, your roof a patchwork of cloth and stolen slate. At night, you listen to rats scratch through the walls. You sleep with calloused hands open, palms up. There are no blueprints, only shouted instructions, only urgency. Always urgency. As the city grows, it grows without plan, until suddenly everything changes. In the early 1800s, city planners decide the chaos must end. The streets will be rationalized. The island flattened into form. This is the dawn of the grid. But before that, for decades, it was you, hauling bricks under blistering sun, sanding beams until your hands bled, nailing boards for buildings that would later burn and be rebuilt again and again. No history book remembers your name, but every sidewalk still rests on your sweat. 1811 to the 1930s, the year is 1811. A decision is made that will echo through every street corner, every brownstone block, every pigeon-covered fire escape of the New York to come. A group of men with long coats and surveying tools unfold a massive document, the commissioner's plan. It's not a dramatic map. It's plain, simple, lines like ruled notebook paper across an island. It is, in a sense, the quietest kind of revolution, bureaucracy made concrete. Manhattan, they decided, would no longer grow wild. It would grow in order. Streets would run east to west, avenues north to south, a relentless logical grid. From 14th Street upward, gone would be the odd curves, the gentle hills, the remnants of Dutch farmland and native trails. Everything would be numbered, straight, predictable. At first, the plan is mocked. It's too rigid, too brutal. But soon, it becomes a kind of religion. Builders obey the grid. Architects kneel to it. It makes the city easier to navigate. But it also makes it uniform, and then comes steel. The late 1800s arrive with noise. Steam hisses. Iron clangs. Elevators are invented, and the skyline is never the same. The city goes vertical. Before, buildings rose 5, maybe 6 stories. Now, they stretch 20, 30, 45. Each floor another piece of sky captured. Each building an exhale of ambition. You are now a draftsman in 1899. You work in a sumless office near Union Square, sketching cornices and archways for buildings you'll never enter. You wear stiff collar, you ride the streetcar, and every week the skyline shifts again. Down in Soho, the cast iron age has arrived. Prefabricated facades, imported from catalogs, are bolted onto buildings like makeup, elegant columns. Grecian flourishes, but behind them, plain warehouses and tenements. It's all appearance now. A city built as much for the look of wealth as for its function. Then come the icons. The Woolworth Building, nicknamed the Cathedral of Commerce, the Flatiron, triangular and strange, and later, the crown jewel of American ambition, the Chrysler Building. It's 1930. You are an elevator operator, 42 floors up. Each morning, you repeat the same words, going up. Each night, you descend alone. The building sparkles, but it hums with loneliness. The grid still governs it all, everything in order. Streets numbered, avenues named. But even as the city becomes taller, sleeker, faster, it also becomes colder. Symmetry replaces surprise, yet beneath the perfection, something else is forming. A second city below, and that's where we're headed next. Subways, secrets, and the rooms no one remembers. You stand at a subway entrance, eyes half closed in the morning haze. But before you step onto the platform, let's rewind. Let's sink below the sidewalk and into history. Before the modern subway system, New York's veins ran shallow. In 1870, Alfred Beach, a dreamer with a knack for scandal, proposed something strange. Not an elevated train, not a horse-drawn carriage, but a pneumatic subway. Yes, a train moved by air. Beach built it in secret. 1 block long, under Broadway, gilded, gaslit, velvet seats. A quiet hiss moved the car. For a time it worked. People lined up. But the city didn't buy in. Within 3 years, the tunnel was sealed, lost, literally buried under ambition. And still today, no one's quite sure what's left of it. Then came the real subway. The Interborough Rapid Transit, minus 1,904. Men dug through rock and clay, side by side in brutal conditions. Shifts blurred, candles burned low. The city above barely noticed. You are one of those men, a sandhog. Your lungs ache with dust, your ears ring from dynamite, but you are building movement for people who may never know your name. As the years passed, the subway became a second city. Not metaphorically, literally. There are entire stations sealed off and silent. The City Hall station, opened in 1904, was a showpiece with vaulted tile ceilings, stained glass skylights, and elegant curves. But it was too curved, too ornate, too impractical for longer trains, so they abandoned it. Now it's quiet, dark. Dust hangs in the air like memory. Sometimes, if you don't get off the 6 train at Brooklyn Bridge and stay on as it turns around, you'll pass through it, just for a moment. A ghost of beauty in the dark, but it's not alone. Grand Central Terminal, the most mythologized transportation hub in America, also has ghosts beneath it. Track 61, the secret platform. Allegedly used by President Franklin D. Roosevelt to discreetly exit his private train and be whisked by elevator directly into the Waldorf Astoria. Truth or urban legend? Maybe both. That's the thing about New York's architecture. The myth becomes the mortar, and then the tubes. The pneumatic mail tubes, installed in the early 20th century, once linked post offices and government buildings. Mail shot through the underground at 30 miles per hour in capsule-shaped canisters, a whisper beneath the noise. By 1950, they were shut down. Too costly, too clunky, too forgotten, and yet, pieces of them still exist. Tunnels that haven't seen light in 70 years. Locked behind rusted doors, marked only by initials and dust. This segment of the city, this underground layer, was never meant to impress. It was meant to function. but function leaves fingerprints. Tiles, rails, arches, silent workers, chipped columns. Now graffiti covers what mosaic once adorned. Pipes hum where choirs of commuters once echoed. And the city breathes through these hollow lungs. Above, taxis honk. Below, a silence built of concrete and time. 1870s to now, the skyline gets the glory. But let's be honest, most New Yorkers never live in the skyline. They live on the stoop. They sleep by the window. They grow old behind thin walls and cracked linoleum. And the architecture of their lives is not marble or monument, but habit. It's a Tuesday night in 1943. You're sitting on the fire escape outside your 5th floor walk-up. There's a jazz station playing on someone's radio. Steam rises from a pot on the stove behind you. And across the street, laundry flaps from one tenement to the next like flags from rival nations. The building you live in, it's technically called a dumbbell tenement. Narrow, squeezed in between others, its floor plan designed to comply with air shelf laws. Not to give you space, just to give you air. The stoop, though, that's yours. In the mornings, it's where you sip burnt coffee. At dusk, it's where your neighbor yells in 3 languages. At night, it's where you watch the world drift by, paper boys, pigeons, priests, prostitutes. In the summer, fire escapes become patios. Children sleep in their underwear on cool metal steps. Mothers talk to each other across the alleyway, sharing gossip over clotheslines. Someone's playing a harmonica. Always someone, always faint. Inside, apartments have high ceilings and no closets. Faded floral wallpaper peels back to show decades of color beneath. The floorboards creak like they're trying to speak. There's never enough light, never enough heat, never enough quiet. But somehow this is comfort, because it's alive. Brownstones sit in rows like old women dressed alike, gazing down on generations. Each stoop a runway for children, a stage for arguments, a pew for grief. And above them, always the window. 5th floor, rear view. Overlooking trash bins, alley cats, the occasional spire of a forgotten church. But it's yours. A place to watch snowfall onto rusted fire escapes. A place to wonder if the people across the alley are wondering about. And so we've wandered. From mud-caked boots and burning timber, to cast-iron facades, grid lines, and silent tunnels. From forgotten labor to forgotten lives. New York's architecture is not just what stands tall, it's what holds quiet. It's the soot on the cornice, the scribbled name in concrete, the creak of a door that's been open the same way for 80 years. It is both collapse and creation all at once. And as the city sleeps, or pretends to, its buildings keep dreaming. They dream of all they've seen and all they still hold. So rest now. You've walked long enough. The stoop is waiting. The window is open. And the city, for once, is quiet.